sure to record this. So since you're right below me on my screen, at least, Jean Ann, tell us a little bit about your background and what led you to Kanega Watch.
Sure. And again, thank you so much, Steve, for having us here to share with everybody what we do with the Kanega Watch and extending independence. My background, I'm a serial entrepreneur and an electrical engineer. So I've sold 2 semiconductor companies, one to Texas Instruments, another one to Apple. And you'll hear shortly that UnaliWear was created out of the discussions and the love with my mom, who's the lady in the leopard skin jacket there. And you'll hear more about her in just a minute. So I will turn it over to Richard, who's our Chief Marketing Officer.
Hi, good morning. Spilling over to good afternoon, everybody. I'm Richard Hirsch, and I run marketing for UnaliWear. And I think you'll all be very captivated by the story of how UnaliWear got created, and Jean Ann will share that in a second. I've been in the health and wellness space, business building, marketing, business development for a long, long time. And most recently in the senior wellness space, was the chief marketing officer for Medical Alert, which is one of the larger players in this medical alarm space. And UnaliWear is a smaller company. It's a startup. It's got innovative technology in a fairly commoditized space. I know that from experience. And so it's quite exciting to talk about a product and an offering that's truly built from the ground up to meet the needs of seniors. And we'll talk about how it's different and why it's better during this presentation. But I'm just excited to be part of this call and provide some insights where I can.
Great. And last but not least, Sherry, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, good morning. Happy to be here. My background's a little different. I actually started off clinically as a nurse in critical care and did that for many years before leaving direct patient care and starting a company in the home care, care management, and healthcare staffing space. Built that for a number of years and started doing some investing and met Jean Ann. And so I've been a fan of UnaliWear since the early days and kind of joined as an investor. And since having sold my company a few years ago, I have joined her efforts a bit and helped to lead some business development, trying to bridge the brilliance of this watch to the healthcare and supporting healthcare markets.
Great. And so you had a care management and home care practice.
I did.
Great. I know we've got a lot of folks in our audience that play in that space, so your perspective would be amazing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of drop off the screen and let you guys sort of talk about the company, talk about the product. I may jump on if there's a question that pops up, but nobody wants to hear me talking today. So I'll let you take it away, Jean Ann. I'm really curious at how you founded this company and the Kanega Watch.
Cool. So here's how we came to be. So my mom, as I told you, was the lady you saw in the leopard skin jacket. Now you see her in her chair at the China Beach set. My mom was a model all of her life. And she also did all of the logo apparel that they used in the China Beach show, for those of you who remember that. As my mom turned 80, we had that discussion, hey mom, want you to stay safe, want you to continue having a great life, but I do want you to stay safe. And I showed up with that whole spreadsheet, the engineering way. I had the little list of all of the pendants and the first of the passive monitoring systems. And I went through all of that with her, and she was good enough to let me go through it all. But then she looked at me and she goes, "Don't you get that for me? I'm not wearing it." And I was like, whoa. I was really quite stunned. And then I thought about it later as I was leaving mom's place, and I thought, you know what? I mean, my mom, the model, she wouldn't wear it, and I shouldn't expect her to, because frankly, I wouldn't wear a pendant, and I am not the style maven that my mom was. And so the fundamental was, what mom said is, hey, look, they're ugly, they're socially stigmatizing, and they're most often tethered to the home. And my mom was frail, but she was totally cognitively capable, and I wanted her to get out and about. So that's how we first started. And we had that discussion. And I came back to her a couple of weeks later and I said, hey, Mom, how about if we make a watch for you and it talks to you and you talk to it, and, it'll help you out. What do you think? And she goes, I'd throw it out the window. And I said, okay, Mom, you're hired. And so Mom actually became our senior user experience designer, which was our little joke. She was a senior user experience designer, and she was also the senior user experience designer. And we had absolutely a great time. She is gone now, but everything we have and everything we are is attributed really to my mom, who allowed us to build what we built to make a difference without being stigmatizing. And so the first question was, hey, listen, if you started from the very beginning, what would it look like? And at the time that we started the company, it was back in 2013. So Apple Watches didn't even exist, but they were certainly rumored. And my concern was, hey, look, is an Apple Watch actually going to be appropriate for my mom and some of the challenges that you face when you're aging? And the answer was, well, no, not really. So the first overriding thing about what you need is it can't be ugly, it can't be stigmatizing, and then on top of that, it has to be completely useful. So just one device, right? You have one Kanega watch, you wear that one Kanega watch, you don't carry a communicator, you don't have a base station, none of that other stuff. It has to be super easy to set up, and in fact, there's actually no setup required. When you first get your Kanega watch, when you first put in the battery pods that I'll show you here in just a second, then it actually talks to you and it goes through a little voice tutorial that says, hi, I am a medical alert device, and I'm going to teach you how to use me in 5 short tutorials. It takes about 5 minutes and basically just walks you through how to use it. There's nothing else you have to do. So most important, and at the time that we started UnaliWear, I was actually retired. I was a dive master on a liveaboard scuba diving boat. But I came out of retirement when I talked to some of my other founders from other companies, and we were talking about the challenges here. And when we came up with our patented battery system in the band, that meant that I could keep my mom safe 24/7, including when she's most vulnerable to falls in the bathroom at night. That's when I said, okay, fine. I'm not here to build a smartwatch, but I am here to extend independence with dignity. So let me show you how the battery works. So here's my Kanega watch. I'm wearing the rose gold. What you see in the picture there is the champagne. And there's a battery right here and a battery carrier right there. And so there's one on each side, and you simply take it out, and there you go. And your Kanega watch comes with a charger that has another 2 batteries on it. So you just swap out the batteries. You don't have to worry because there's a safety battery in the base. So even if the pods get dislodged or both of them come out, then it's still not a problem. You've got enough power to spend 15 minutes on the phone with a medical alarm operator. And the way you simply work with it is simply to say, Fred Astaire, what time is it?
The time is 11:14 a.m.
Or to say, Fred Astaire, get help.
I think I heard you ask for help. I am contacting the operator. crown button once if you do not need help, and I will cancel the call.
Now I'm going to cancel the call so I can tell you about some more of the things in a Kanega watch. But by the way, that was without battery pods. They were still in my hands. So now I'm going to put them back in. So it is the battery technology, the patented battery system in the band that actually made me come out of retirement to build this for my mom and other independent but vulnerable folks. And what we have as well is automatic fall detection on the wrist. And so this is really a very intelligent automatic fall detection because we back all of this with artificial intelligence that learns the wearer's lifestyle. So it's not just a matter of we think there's a movement that may have caused a fall. We actually learn over time, what movements are and aren't falls. So you already saw that the Kanega Watch is voice activated. You can also, if for example you have a cold or like Steve, you've lost your voice, you can use the cleverly disguised crown button right there and simply.
I think you held the crown button.
There you go.
I am contacting the operator. Press the crown button once if you do not need help, and I will cancel the call.
And I'm going to go ahead and cancel it.
Marianne, or Jean Ann, sorry, gosh, why am I question. So it sounds like you can name your watch whatever you want it to be. So yours is Fred Astaire. So you're not stuck with Alexa or Siri.
Right now you're stuck with Fred because that's
okay.
what my mom named hers. But coming soon, you will be able to name your watch your own name.
Okay,
so
great.
You won't be stuck with anything unusual like Alexa. So, yep. Again,
I like Fred Astaire.
Yeah, it's all about my mom. So we are, one of the things that was super important to me was that we are actually connected to emergency medical call centers. So they bypass 911 and go directly to emergency dispatch. And there's two things that are really important there. And the reason that I did it this way, one is that when you go to an emergency medical alarm call center and they actually talk to dispatch, then they're able to provide any information about any other challenges you may have, like, I'm allergic to aspirin, or I have diabetes, or, need to be on oxygen, or whatever my deal is, that 911 doesn't have any of that information. The medical alarm call center does. And then the other thing that's really important to me is that I don't believe in that approach that says, if there's an issue, then text a bunch of friends and see if somebody responds to you, or a bunch of family members, whatever it is. In my case, I was the only child for my mom. And, I knew if she needed help, it was going to be 2:00 in the morning and my cell phone would be on silent. Medical alarm operators are there 24/7, 365 days a year. And that's super important. So they can reach me. They could go to emergency medical alarm services. They could call their neighbor next door. And I think that's super valuable. So fundamental in having my mom as a part of this was being able to actually have something that you're willing to wear, right? And not having the stigma of the pendant form factor. And then fundamental to me is that whole business of saying, hey, when you buy a Kanega watch, there's no fine print, there's no, none of those issues. You simply buy a Kanega watch and the service that goes with it. And if you want to cancel your service, we prorate your refund. And if it's in the first 30 days, it's 100% refund, no special fine print, no contracts, no any of that kind of stuff, because the whole idea is to make sure that we have built a product that extends independence with dignity in a way that people are willing and happy to wear. And that's what I think we've done. Rich, for you.
I am off mute. We have a short, first of all, thank you, Jean Ann. We have a short video an intro video that kind of shows the watch in action. I also want to know is, Doug, are you on the line? You may be muted, but are you on the line?
Yeah, he hasn't uh, he has, we do have a bunch of people in the audience on phones, but I don't see him in the panelists.
All right, so if we're lucky, Doug's from Wisconsin, and he's an actual Kanega Watch user, and hopefully he'll join before the end of the call for the Q&A in case there are questions from people that want to speak to somebody who has had an experience using the watch day in and day out. But for now, we have a video that shows kind of a presentable experience of the watch in action. So I'm going to play that now, and then we're going to move on to just a couple of slides that talk a little more about the differences between the Kanega Watch and really the many mobile medical alarm competitors that are out there, including the Apple Watch, and how it's been designed to be better. And look forward to then answering people's questions after the call, after that's been taking place. Note that there's been a number of things in the Q&A, questions are being asked that will be answered in the presentation. So if you get a response back saying, we're going to answer this live, it means it's part of the presentation. And if we somehow do not cover it, please, there'll be time at the end for questions as well. And continue to use the Q&A, of course, as well. So I will now turn it over to the video.
The Kanega Watch from UnaliWear, lightweight, comfortable, and meant to be worn throughout the day and night, controlled by speech, not touchscreens, making it easy to use.
Kanega, what day is it?
The Kanega Watch itself is waterproof, and thanks to the patented battery system in the band, you never have to take your watch off to charge it, which keeps wearers safe 24/7. A simple daily battery swap keeps the watch charged and able to provide ongoing standby assistance. The Kanega Watch is providing independence with dignity and bringing peace of mind to families everywhere.
So now we're going to jump into the comparison chart. I also want to point out that we have a very short, simple brochure that can be emailed out to all people that are attending. So much of this information will be covered in that brochure in a way that's easily digestible. So no need to take a lot of notes because you'll have all this information shortly in your inbox.
The Kanega Watch from...
Sorry about that. There we go. So we'll move out here. So here is a chart that actually is on our website, UnaliWear.com. You'll see that listed as well later on in the presentation. It's on the page Why Kanega Watch. And basically it compares the Kanega Watch on all these different features and benefits related to itself versus other mobile medical alert brands. There's a lot of at-home brands as well. And obviously this is not at-home product as much as, I mean, it is, but it's much more focused on doing better for the people that are buying mobile products and that are out and about as well, not just at home. And then and also comparing it to the Apple Watch SE. And you'll see the check marks across Kanega and the X's and the check marks appropriately across the competitors. So I'm going to run through a number of these before we, because a number of them have been already talked about. So can be worn 24/7, even while charging. That's true for the Kanega Watch. It's not true for the medical alert brands, as well as for the Apple Watch SE. You have to at some point take those off to charge, and you're in a position of trying to remember to actually put them back on. Now the Apple Watch has the benefit the Kanega Watch does, which is that it's a watch. So you have a habitual reason to keep wearing it versus the medical alert brands that you have to remember to put back on once you've charged them. Mostly everyone that has been a customer of the Kanega Watch is getting it because they're concerned about falls. And falls is one of the big reasons why this industry has grown as strongly as it has. Fall detection, ironically, is not a standard feature in the competitive products. It's an upsell product. And when GNAM was building this, that seemed kind of silly. Again, not trying to have fine print, not trying to make the sales process complicated. So fall detection is built into and is a standard feature in the Kanega Watch. That is not true for competitors. It is obviously true for the Apple Watch. Also, if you do get fall detection with a competitive product, you have to wear a neck pendant. That's how fall detection is effectively executed through competitive products. It's because that's how the algorithm was created, and they need the neck pendant for it to work. So if you're a non-pendant person, that kind of is a deal breaker. And in fact, one of the greatest, most consistent reasons why these devices are returned is because of the fact that people don't want to wear the pendant. So similar to what Jeananne's mom experienced. So the fact that it's in a wrist-only device is quite differentiating. Jeananne talked about the intelligent fall detection, the fact that with other devices, if you get up from a table too fast, or you sit down too fast, you roll over in bed in a weird way, and it engages the fall detection alert. If you do that same action a day from now, a week from now, it's never going to learn to do it, that not to be an activity that needs to be called for emergency services. So again, that's one of the reasons why these products get returned, is because of the annoyance with false fall detection alerts. And that is not an issue with the Kanega Watch because of the artificial intelligence that's built into the watch. It reduces those false fall detection alerts over time. It actually becomes a truly personal medical alarm because it's personal for you and your movements. Jeananne talked about the fact that the watch engages not only with touch and a touch button, but also with speech. And obviously that can be critical during times of need. The fact that it's an all-in-one device, many of the mobile devices that are out there are a pendant with a separate communicator that you keep in your purse, you keep in your pocket. And of course, it's very likely that when someone leaves their home, they won't remember to take the communicator, they'll just take the pendant. And of course, that pendant has no functionality without being connected to the communicator and with the communicator nearby, because there's no activity there. So it becomes a useless device out and about. So an all-in-one device is critical, not having to pair it with anything. And the ability to activate that response via help button or voice is critical. As we talked about, the fact that it's waterproof, you saw in the video, the fact that non-emergency assistance is available. That's the one issue, main issue with Jeananne talked about with the Apple Watch, is that if it goes directly to 911, they don't know anything about you. They don't know and so knowing, and they also can only deal with an emergency, whereas the emergency response center, the reason why it's so critical to have it connected with somebody that has your information is that they can take non-emergency issues and deal with them. Contact a neighbor, connect with your doctor, so on and so forth, versus just the traditional 911 call an ambulance. Jeananne didn't mention this, but the Kanega Watch also has medication reminders. Again, it's a useful function, not only as in and of itself, but also because it just gives the user another reason to keep wearing the watch and keep using it 24/7, 365. Now, someone talked about the pricing. And so, again, this is on our website. We're totally transparent when it comes to pricing. So the cost of the device, again, on an annual basis, an annual plan is $149 for the cost of the device. And the monthly monitoring service that includes the artificial intelligence fall detection is $59.95. That monitoring is a little more expensive than the competitors, but obviously you're getting AI fall detection, and you're getting the benefit of the single device as well. This is, a lot of the products out there are highly commoditized, and I think we recognize that this is a more expensive item, but it's not super more expensive, and it provides a lot of features and benefits that we think totally validate the increase in cost. And obviously our customers believe the same, because the return rate of a Kanega watch, once it's been given to a customer, is 1/10 that of the industry. In addition, the self-service plans are included in the monthly service, not always with the mobile medical alert brand. Sometimes there's a separate fee for the cell service or the data plan. And of course, the Apple Watch, you have to have the Apple service as well. Everything's wrapped up in one single price with the Kanega Watch. including all taxes and fees. So many other companies in this space, I know from personal experience, they get you to come in and call on a very low price, and before you know it, you've worked your way up to a price that's actually not that different on a monthly basis from the Kanega Watch. And so we're transparent. We recognize that this is not the way to treat people. And so our goal is to try to have a simple, clean, easy to understand pricing plan and a simple, clean, easy to understand device that can provide support when the customer needs it most. The other thing that's not on this chart that's really important to understand as well is that the average usage of these devices, not the Apple Watch because it's a watch that people use it, you know, they have it on they're wearing it probably 24/7 except when they have to charge it. But in the industry, these other medical alarm brands, you know, the average daily usage, the average amount of time that someone is actually wearing it and protecting them is only around 40%, 50%. Some data is 30%. Because they're taking it off to charge, taking it off because it's clunky, they're taking it off because they don't want to wear it, taking it off to shower sometimes. All the reasons why they forget to put it back on. With the Kanega Watch, our data shows that the average Kanega Watch user is wearing it and actively using the watch approximately 90% of the time, which is exactly what you'd want to have in a device that's meant to be there for you 24/7, 365. So, I mean, this is a bit redundant, but it's important to, again, just have it on a screen. Again, this is on our website. But so what happens in an emergency, right? So you can either press or speak to the Kanega Watch, and it's connecting to a US-based response operator anytime, day or night, anywhere in the country. That person knows your name, your address, your location. That person knows your emergency contacts. If you've provided your medical information, medications, if you have a lockbox in your that connect, you know, that provides a key, a lockbox key to your front door. They have the code to that, so they can alert EMTs that they have to come in. They don't break down your door. So it's all of this. The US-based response operators can also, they themselves can dispatch fire department, police department, can dispatch an EMT and an ambulance. They don't have to go down to 911. So it's not an extra step. It is just the better step in many cases. And of course, if you don't press or speak, but the watch detects a fall, it will alert the operator even if you can't do anything, and they'll send immediate emergency services. And of course, you saw how GNAM was able to easily disengage that in case it was a false fall alert. And then that response operator, again, is trained. They're going to triage the situation. You may not need an ambulance. You may just need a neighbor or a family member. That's what we refer to as standby assistance. It's not always the case where an ambulance has to come. In fact, many times it isn't an ambulance or police or fire. It's a more minor emergency, but the person feels comfortable calling someone for that when they probably wouldn't have called 911. And that's when the system is working best. Hey, Gina, do you want to take this?
Sure, I'll take it. So if you look at that picture of my mom, you can probably tell that there's Cherokee blood in our background. And I know I'm the spitting image of my dad's sister, so I don't show it as much. Unali in Cherokee is friend. Actually, it's Unale. But anyway, Unali is the easy way to say it. And Kanega means speak in the Cherokee language. And so we're the friend who speaks to you. What I didn't want was to create another company that was assist, medical, alert, first, alarm, support, care, any of that buzzword bingo stuff. How about being a friend that speaks to you? And that's what we are.
Hang on one second. So just relevant resources that we have, the website, and again, you'll get this in the brochure, UnaliWear.com, the customer service phone number, as well customer success that we call a customer success team. Sherry's on the phone right now, and you heard her speak previously at the start of the call. She oversees all our business development, our referral partnerships. We know there's a diverse group of people on this call. There are people that are individuals looking at potentially getting a Kanega watch. There are home care agencies, aging care managers. We are looking to work with various companies that have similar vision for us in terms of trying to help people, age in place with dignity and independence. And so certainly Sherry would love to talk to anybody who would want to have those conversations about how we can work together. And you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Vimeo for our videos. If you like the video that we showed you, there's 3 or 4 more on Vimeo, as well as on LinkedIn.
Great. This was great, guys. Great overview and lots of questions in the Q&A. Richard, since my voice isn't what it should be, if you want to take my duties where I usually just read the question, say the name of the person that asked the question, and then you guys can kind of banter back and forth. And then if anybody would like to ask a question live, just raise your hand by pressing the button, and I'll bring you on voice only.
And by the way, I don't know, again, Doug was having some technology issues this morning. I don't know if he's joined. So Doug, if
not yet. I did resend him the phone.
Okay.
So when he comes on, we could get him on.
Okay, not a problem. So I'm going to go through just the Q&A that's here. A number of the questions you've already were asked about how much is the watch and how much is the service. So we laid that out in the presentation. Someone said the price of the watch is reasonable. Thank you, Bernie. The monthly nut seems high. Are there different levels of service? There isn't, Bernie. $59.95 is higher than what's out there, but if you actually look at the more recent devices that are being marketed these days, they're not that much less expensive when you add in fall detection and you add in a lot of other bells and whistles that are part of the Kanega watch that are sold separately by and individual upsells by the competitors that make the process, again, of buying more challenging and more expensive than when you call on or reach out on on kind of a promo offer. That really isn't the goal of UnaliWear. Let's see. So anonymous attendee. What does the asterisk signify? On that, I apologize. The chart did not fit completely on the screen. So if you saw on the presentation on that chart, there were asterisks. It just was saying that that pricing of our pricing, as well as for the pricing of the Apple Watch, as well as for the competitors, was all on an apples to apples basis. It was all on an annual plan basis. So it was for a 12-month plan. We offer a monthly plan, but it's $69.95 for the month, and obviously the watch is more expensive because we're defraying the cost of the watch with part of the monthly monitoring cost, obviously. Ada asked, do you have discounts for partnerships? We have a referral program that allows you to bring people to us. We give them a month free. Aside from a free trial, they get a month free during their first year, and then the referral partner gets a initial payment plus a piece of the monthly monitoring fee on an ongoing basis, as long as the customer remains active with UnaliWear.
One question, Richard, and all on, because there is there's always a lot of questions about price, because affordability is such an issue with senior living in general. And but it's possible that you could partner with an organization and they could use these watches as sort of a pass along to enhance the quality of their services, correct?
Yes, correct. Obviously, Steve.
Okay.
Yep. Gina, I don't know if you want to comment more on that. No. Yep. What is the size of the watch face as well as the width of the band? Gina Ann, do you have those handy?
Yeah, I'll just type that into the chat here in just a sec.
That's fine. And then Fred Young wanted to make sure that we knew his name was Fred Young and not Astaire. And he asked about watch reviews. I mean, again, we'd hope to have Doug be on the call today. You know, we're still, you know, a smaller company than our players. We're working actually to work with one of the online review aggregation sites shortly, like a Trustpilot, and expect to have those reviews posting shortly, which would allow us to get more credible information out there. I'll just say that I think one of the most telling aspects is the fact that after 30 days in the industry overall, the return rate is between 20 and 30%. And after 30 days with the Kanega Watch, the return rate is 3%. So to me, that speaks a lot about reliability as well as the consumers liking it. But there's nothing better than independent reviews, Fred. And we will be working on that shortly to make sure that we have as much transparency in those reviews as we have in the rest of the information we provide on the offering. Better Business Bureau rated. I haven't had that question before. Jeanette, have you had that question before about Better Business Bureau? No, so we'll look into that. That's a good suggestion, Fred.
And let's see, Bernie Cohen has his hand raised. So Bernie, can you if you have a question, you can unmute yourself. And while Bernie's coming on, Ada asks.
Yeah, I have that. So Ada, yes, it's a one-time fee of $149 for the watch. It's not a yearly fee. So it's important to know that $149 includes all taxes. It's a single price. There's no additional prices, no additional things added on, tacked onto it. And that only happens when you first get the watch. And so the next year, all you pay for is the monthly monitoring charge. And again, no taxes, no additional fees, no cost for the fall detection. It's all built into that one number.
Richard, I got a question. I can see for a person living alone and has real issues, serious issues, this is great, the price is fine. But I'm thinking about, like, for my wife, we live together. She has some issues, but they're not serious, but she has fallen and she couldn't get up. She was in a bad place where she fell. She didn't hurt herself. She has a weight problem and it just hard for her to get up. And it's limited. Is there anything like that for more limited issues that is available?
Well, I'm not sure why Bernie, if you could elaborate a little bit, why would the watch not be applicable for your wife?
It's wonderful, but it's more than what we need and it's spending like 700 and something bucks a year for service. It just doesn't justify right now.
I get it. So what I would suggest you do, so the answer is, for the offering that we're talking about today, there is not a less expensive option. But people make trade-offs all the time, right? So if you would like something cheaper, and that's totally appropriate, there are plenty of people that choose a cheaper option. There are plenty of companies out there with more commoditized products that you wear around the neck that are, and some of them are all-in-ones, and meaning that it's just one device, press and speak. They have many limitations relative to the Kanega Watch, but they may serve your needs, even if the functionality isn't exactly what you want. And I would encourage you probably to pick one of those companies and hope that your wife has a good experience.
Okay, appreciate it.
Thanks, Bernie. Looks like Ada was asking, how does the client's information get transmitted to the call center prior to the incident? How's that set up?
Janine, do you want to take that? I'm happy to do as well.
Sure, no problem. There's a simple web form. So if you buy on the web, when you've made the purchase and the confirmation page that always comes up that says, hey, thank you for your purchase, in our case also includes a link to the configuration form. And so you simply tell us, you know, who's wearing it, where do they live, who are their trusted contacts, anything you might want to say that we provide to the medical alarm operators, you know, that allergy to aspirin or, you know, diabetes or whatever the issue may be, whether or not you've got a lockbox, what the code is, if there's a hidden away key, where it might be found. You know, and we also give you the opportunity, should you desire for us to have us preload your medication information. And that way you don't have to do any of that. So yeah, it's pretty easy.
Excellent. Well,
And
guys, this has
looking
been
at the Q&A, Steve. There's another question about what about comparisons with other Apple Watches? And I'm not quite sure how to respond to that. The SE is sort of the least expensive option there, except for some of the older generation product. So we tried to choose one that we thought was a reasonable comparison versus, you know, trying to stack the deck and showing the most expensive one. So I would think that in most cases, you would have to just pay more than what's on that chart.
Yeah. No, very thorough overview and great questions, guys. We can start wrapping things up, and whenever I say that, it always sort of prompts another round of last minute questions. But I think, Richard, what you said is that you guys are very clear that this is one alternative in a very interesting space these days. Fall prevention and fall detection, or whatever you want to call it, is something that we all recognize is the entry point to a lot of the services that we offer. When somebody has a fall, then all of a sudden they're in our assisted living or a nursing home. And if we can prevent that, if we can detect that, we can minimize injuries and potentially death, you know. So I'm really excited to sort of share this innovative sort of product development and hear your all story, have everybody hear your story. I really think it's very thoughtful, and what you've done is pretty impressive.
Hey, Steve, can I also say that I'm just scrolling through the chats. There are a number of people working for various companies that would like to, that are really interested in the product and think it could be good for some of their clients, and would like to explore potentially partnering with us. Again, I just want to reiterate that the best way to do that is to reach out to Sherry McKessie, who's on this call, with regard to business development opportunities. And I think I see Doug has joined.
Let's see. Yeah, we got Doug. Doug is an actual user. So here, if you can unmute yourself, that would be awesome to hear from you.
I know he's on the phone, so that could be a bit challenging.
Yeah, no. There we go. We got you, Doug. Can you hear us? Say something, Doug. All right. Well, his mic is unmuted. So, Doug, we would love to hear your story about being a Kanega Watch user. And let's see.
Oh, I'm sorry. There is a question about the protocol for storing clients' personal information safely. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, Jean-Ann?
Sure. Yeah. So this is one of those places where you've got the advantage having nerds in charge, because we're all well-known, privacy people. Um, we actually exceed HIPAA requirements for the Kanega Watch and for what we do with all of the data. And so, yeah, it's all encrypted in flight. It's encrypted in storage, and we're quite serious about that. That's it's just not okay to let any of that out.
Doug, can you try talking? All right. Well, that's a bummer if we can't hear from Doug. One of the things that I love is when I appreciate you reaching out to Doug to talk about his experience. I love it when we're able to bring in the users to these discussions, and I know the audience really appreciates it as well. Great. So any do you guys have any sort of future plans or things that are in your laboratory with the people with all the white lab coats that you guys are working on, that you're able to share with us?
Yes, we do. We have lots of things in the laboratory, and I'm wearing a black shirt, by the way, but that's because it says UnaliWear. Um, um, I did tell you that you're going to have the opportunity to name your own Kanega watch. That's one of the things that's in the lab. There's some other really, really cool things that we're working on related to our technology and learning the wearer's lifestyle, and in ways that we can, discreetly, unobtrusively provide support. But I don't want to talk too much about those right now. But yes, we're never really satisfied with the status quo. That should be pretty obvious. And so, we, for all of us, and I'm sure that that's everybody who's actually, on the webinar today and listening to the recording, we're not in the work of doing what we do simply because it's a business. It's also a mission and a belief, and certainly, that's how we feel too.
Great. All right. Well, let's try one last time to get Doug on. And Doug, if you can hear me, please say something. If not, I think it's a good time to just thank you guys for your participation. And I will send out a recording to everybody. And as well as I added a link to the brochure and chat, but I'll send that out as well so that you can share this with your colleagues, family members, and other folks that might be interested. And as well as sending out contact info for all of our panel members. All right. Oh, it's a bummer that we didn't get Doug on, but in any event, if any of you guys have any closing words, we can wrap this up, and then we will follow up with everybody.
Well, I mean, I just want to thank everybody for their time and their great questions, and appreciate Jean Ann taking time out of her day to be part of this, as well as Sherry. And I hope there's opportunities for us as a company to be able to provide support to people on this call and the people that they serve. And as we grow, I hope you'll keep tabs on us and cheer us on.
Absolutely. I think you got a bunch of new fans that are going to be cheering you on. And I love, Jean Ann, I love the story of your mom, the actress model. And is she still alive, or? Oh, okay.
No, she's gone. But I mean, it a little bit. It's kind of the everybody has this story if you're in this space, especially for the entrepreneurs. But the difference is, you know, with my mom's sense of style and my team's engineering expertise, we were able to deliver something that most people can't do. And, you know, if we'd have let me design it, oh my God. Just from the way it would look, you know, it would be black and it'd be square and yeah. So mom was super important.
Oh, it's great. And then, well, like I said, I knew another question would come in, but Sid asks, so the wake word, is it just Fred Astaire or can Kanega be the wake word too?
Right now it is just Fred Astaire.
Okay.
But we could make it Kanega. It's more a matter of the concern is the one that says, what name are you going to remember in an emergency?
Yep.
Right. And so that's kind of the challenge with Siri and Alexa and all of those names. They sound great and they're great for voice technology, but they're not so great for, I remember this when I'm stressed. And so that's how mom came up with Fred Astaire.
No, I love it. It's great. All right, guys. Well, I'll follow up with everybody and sorry about the voice. I'm hoping that tomorrow it's better, but everybody stay safe out there. And I hope nobody gets sick like I am today. So
Thank you for coordinating this, Steve. It's been wonderful.
All right.
Thank you.
Bet. Thanks. Bye.
Take care, everybody.